All right, Infernal Blessings, we are back with another video. All right, so a couple quick announcements. It's going to be a real brief video, literally. 15, 20 minutes or so, I'm not sure. But anyway, a couple quick announcements. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings, telepathic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which is always a great thing to do when you're looking for a sense of purpose and direction, especially for ritual work. What's going on in my life? What should I be doing? And a better, thorough understanding of the shadow and the hidden self. A deity reading to see what gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits walk with you. Maybe you're interested in a spiritual consultation. People use that if you have a bunch of questions about the left-hand path of the occult, or maybe you want to focus on a specific area of interest or something that's going on in your life. Any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in that email your full weekly availability along with the days and times you are available, and I will get back to you with a day and time that works for both of us, okay? Also, if you're interested in signing up for classes, go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I. That's patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3. That is going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including the group ritual we do at the end of the month. And it also gives you access from the day you join, to everything in the archives. You don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You get access to 5+ years worth of content. That's group work, ritual work, all the resources and books that are used for the classes. You have access to all that information. Trust me, nobody's offering what I'm offering it for, and I say that out of confidence, not arrogance. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, B-A-N-I-T-I, tier 3. You could also go, when you go to the webpage, hit the collection section. You can see all the ongoing classes that are going on right now, with new classes being added on a regular basis. Also, don't forget to check out the social media pages, Primordial Chaos 9, all one word, on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 2 words on Facebook, primordialchaos.com 3 on TikTok. That's the best place to stay abreast of all the latest happenings, announcements, and classes. So subscribe to them social media pages, follow them, and you'll be up to par on everything I'm doing here on the Primordial Chaos page. All right. Also, the 8th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference is officially in full effect. It'll be this year, October 30th to November 2nd, right here in Hollywood, Florida. Any questions, information, we always assist with information if you need on lodging, travel information. More information coming, very soon in the next month or so. We'll keep building it up, all right? Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to my podcast, my contact information for my email address, the direct link to the social media pages, and the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links are in the description box of this video you are currently watching right now. All right. Other than that, I wanted to talk Kali Ma, the great mother of destruction, the great mother of deconstruction and reconstruction. I figured I'd do a quick video on her because she is our monthly ritual for the end of the month. We've done a couple over the years. I think this might be our 3rd or 4th time in the last. It's been a minute. We haven't really done a Kali Ma ritual with the great deconstructor and reconstructor Kali Ma. And she, look, there's a good history to know about her, but I want to also put this out there first. There's a lot of new fluffy bullshit in the recent years, just like they've done with Lilith and just like they've done with Hecate or Hecate. There is this new agey goddess aspect, which is come out and popped up more in recent years. That's not the Kali Ma, or what Kali Ma is, and that's not the Kali Ma that I'm teaching about. I want to make that clear. Kali Ma is a very deep, it's a very dark, intense goddess. She can be very graphic and violent in nature as far as what she represents. We've all seen the very popular image of her with the 7 heads. She has the scimitar in her hand, and she has her foot on the chest of Shiva, who's the great god of destruction himself. That representing the male and female energy. Very similar when we look at that pantheon and we take it to Samael and Lilith on the Clipothic tree. Kind of a very similar representation, because the feminine, the divine demonic feminine, controls and facilitates one aspect of the tree, and the divine male, or divine demonic male, represents the male aspect of the Clipothic tree. And that infusion of the divine male and female energy creates what we call like a Baphomet, or Baphomet, which is what the Infernal Union ritual represents when you work with Lilith and Samael. The infusion of those divine masculine and feminine energy. The harmonization of it, right? And that's kind of when you look at that representation of Kali with her foot on Shiva's chest. It's that showing really in that demonic world or demonic realm. I've said to you guys many times before, it's that feminine energy is boss in that realm. It's a whole different perspective when we look at so-called gender. And Kali is a very powerful entity that brings that transformative change that we need, right, to become like a Baphomet, harmonized, in unity with ourselves, activating the true demonic or personal demonic self, our personal daemon, right? She is a key ingredient in what she represents and how her energy works and how we need to tackle that and how we need to do that. Okay, very important, very, very critical for us to understand. Now, when you explore Kali, depending on from what perspective, obviously if you go back to modern day Hindu culture, it's been watered down a little bit because she technically is a Dravidian deity that does have her origins out of Africa, because the ancient Dravidians are what we're calling these people we're labeling as Hindus descend from, because they are a mixture of your Indo-Aryans, your Africans, and your Europeans, right? And this is why they have the hair texture, the features, and why they look the way they look. So Kali went, because the name Kali Ma means black mother. And if you look at the ancient statues of Kali, she was always depicted as a black woman, because it's in her name. This bluish hue type of image that you see now, and with a lot of the Hindu deities, comes later on through this culture of what we know as Hinduism, correct? We're taking the essence of Kali Ma, we're predating it before that, okay? And she would be considered, what we call in that culture, a left-hand path kind of entity or deity, because of how she works. Now, you also see, for an example, it's crazy because it goes to show you how some cultures and systems were cross-referenced. There's an interesting cult in Trinidad, or an aspect of Kali Ma that's worked with in Obia in Trinidad, right? Which a lot of people don't really know about, a lot of people don't really talk about, discuss, or teach, but it's there. So to go to show you its origins in connection with some African traditional systems, or even some Afro-Caribbean religions. Now there's that infusion of East Indians, because if you go to Trinidad, obviously today, there's an influx of people who are of quote-unquote East Indian descent. That tends to, it happens. And you'll see that that's how they cross-reference each other, because that culture was brought to that island, and it made its connection to what we know as the practice of Obia, which I'm going to do another video on that shortly. So, point being, there's different aspects of Kali where it's really kept, and even that aspect of how she's worked within Trinidad is very intense, very graphic. It's not this fluffy bunny, oh, the great mother goddess, and all that bullshit, because there's a lot of that new age. They've done it with Kali, they've done it with Lilith, they've done it with Hecate. They've tried to make them this new agey peace and love, kumbaya deity, and they all rooted in that sacred science of deconstruction and reconstruction. It's that simple. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sandbag it for you and BS you, because when you're working with Kali on the left-hand path, you're working with a transformative evolving and rapid changing energy. And that's what the ritual is going to be about that we work with at the end of the month. Invoking her, locking in a group setting with her mantras and meditations. And we're going to connect with her in all aspects and areas in our life where we need that transformative change, where we need to remove out the old. It's not for the weak-hearted. If you're into that kumbaya shit, holding hands, this definitely is not the route you want to go. All right? We've got to stop pretending it's all about peace and love. Okay? In order to obtain what you think peace and love is, you must first deal with the bullshit. Okay? So people don't want to go through the hard work they need to go through to obtain that quote-unquote personal peace and love. Right? It's one thing saying it, but it's a whole nother thing actually doing it. Okay? So we will connect with the great Black Mother Kali Ma through, again, invocations, mantras. There'll be points in the ritual where we can focus specifically on areas of personal interest. So how I design group rituals, right? It's not ceremonial, for lack of a better word. It's not ceremonial. It's done in a group setting, but I design the rituals where there's always that personal reflection time, okay? Where there's always a point in the ritual where you add your personal individual work, right? So if you need change, you need a path to be opened. Excuse me. You need some assistance in something as far as getting clarity and knowledge and a wisdom and a greater understanding, then Kali Ma is the way for you to go. Kali Ma is the door you want to open up and embrace as that great mother of change, right? Understand all of her elements, what death current represents with Kali Ma, why the great knife of separation, the scimitar, why the representation of the skulls and the severed heads. It all represents a cutting away. It all represents a deconstruction process, a destroying and annihilation of all the things about you that are weak, that are holding you down and that are holding you back. As I said, you can hide in any other path, right? Some people stay in shit they're comfortable. They want to be Christians, Muslims, Jews, New Agers, Hotepers, Alafias, anything that makes them feel comfortable. Anything to avoid dealing with the shadow, the hidden self, the real you. So you pretend you're this fluffy, loving, light being, and really, just as much as you are this, what you think is this positive being, you also are just as destructive. And you also have a very dark side to you that needs to be mastered. People act like it doesn't exist. They pretend like I'm just going to pray it away, I'm going to meditate it away, don't worry about it. That's not how this works. Ya Kali Ma. We call upon Kali Ma because we are asking her for assistance in reference to change on our spiritual path, change to remove certain things in our life, whether that's person, places, or things, right? People don't want to understand. Step one is analyze your immediate surroundings and environment and analyze who you affiliate and associate with. And anybody you're not dealing, that you don't need to be dealing with, you need to cut ties with. Period. And if you have an inner awareness, you need to just cut ties with them, then stay away. If you're doing things, you have habits, personality traits that are destructive to yourself, change it. Okay? You're going to find out as you grow and evolve on this path, your personal circle gets very small. I know mine is super small. I'm only talking to and dealing with people directly who I deal with for a reason. It has to be set up like that. And it doesn't mean because you don't deal with somebody anymore. Sometimes it's not that you have a problem with anybody. It's just you've outgrown that individual or individuals, plural, their energy, and the spirits and the gods and the goddesses are shifting you in another direction and placing you in an environment that's more conducive to your personal and spiritual growth. That's what this is all about. I've found as I get older, you lose more things. And I don't say that in a bad way. You lose and shed all the things you don't need no more. And again, that's in reference to person, places, and things. And you keep losing and shedding things you don't need, so you can now open yourself up to receive. You understand what you're really supposed to receive. Look, I could say this, and I'm going to leave you with this, okay? This has been a very, and it's a continuing journey, right? This journey the last 6, 7 years, 8 years or so for me or more, let's just say maybe roughly 10 years, it's been a journey, right? And I can look back and reflect on so much change on a multitude of levels in those areas of person, places, and things. And I can just look back and see the growth in a positive and productive aspect. And what that tells me, that's confirmation of the results. When you can say that, look back and see it and validate it for yourself, not for anybody else, that's how you know you're on the right path. I know I'm on my path, the path I've been called to, because I see the results. So whatever that is, even if it's a path I don't agree with, it's not a matter what I agree with or what anybody else agrees with, it's what works for you, right? It's just the nature of how things work as far as what you're called to, right? So you might hear me speak on over the years, when I see people come on this path that really aren't supposed to be here. They think they are, and I call them dabblers, right? Because they come and they go. And number one, people that go, they're the first to go, are the ones that come right out the gate, how dark and powerful, and I'm so this and I'm so that, and I'll fuck somebody up and blah, 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 and this and that. It's the talkers, the wannabe heavies, the ones that think they so deep. Those are the ones you hear me call out all the time. It's okay if this is not your path, you're not called to this. If you're called to Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, New Age, whatever the fuck it is that floats your boat, kumbaya, I have no problem with it, but just don't try to enforce that on others that don't want that enforced upon them. That's my point. I'll speak out on things I feel that's incorrect. You don't have to agree with it. You're entitled to that, but it's not going to stop me from speaking out and saying what I feel needs to be said in those areas of topics. I think people need to leave all that shit alone. That's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with that. And to me, it is not an option. If you want to be on the left-hand path in the occult and truly grow and evolve and really receive the rewards of being on this path and what it takes, all of that old shit needs to be left behind. If you still want to half-step, dabble, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it doesn't work. Okay? You will never truly understand what the occult left-hand path is, and that's why I've said that's why people leave and go back, because they don't understand the magnitude of the enormous responsibility and accountability it takes being on this path. Because there's nobody to blame for your successes, which you take credit for it, but the second part is hard. There's nobody you can blame for your failures when you fail on this path. All you got is you. Okay? So, anyway, Kalima is about coming to all these realizations that I'm talking about today and about using her power to assist in making those things happen. All right? So I say, Ya Kalima, Ya Kalima. Let's connect with her for this month. Let's get rolling as we get into the end of June. A great goddess to work with before we connect with Set for the month of July. It's going to be an awesome 2 months. All I could say is if you're really navigating through this path, put your seatbelt on, buckle up. It's about to get a little bumpy in June and July. We're going to get this shit rocking and rolling as we get to the conference in October, preparing us to move in a state of stasis and darkness as we approach the winter solstice at the end point of the year. All right? I appreciate you guys tuning in. That's all I got for you now. Hopefully this video helped. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual consultation or a reading, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages, the podcast, and a direct link to the Primordial Chaos page to sign up for classes. All those links are in the description box of this video you're watching right now. Infernal blessings, people, and we will talk soon. I'm out of here.